I used to believe that betrayal would come with thunder. Screaming, tears, broken plates and slammed doors. But no. Mine came in silence. At 2:07 a.m. with a single message from a number I didn't recognize. Your husband is cheating on you. With someone from work. You should know. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours. My breath caught somewhere in my chest. The house was still, wrapped in the thick hush of early morning. Ethan lay beside me, turned away, breathing softly, peacefully. I didn't answer the text. I didn't even save the number. But from that moment everything changed. We had been married 11 years. Not perfect but solid, or so I thought. We had routines, shared Spotify playlists, matching coffee mugs, Sunday farmers markets. Believed in us. In him. Maybe that was my mistake. The next morning I couldn't look him in the eye. I brewed the coffee as always. Kissed his cheek before he left for work. Then I sat at the kitchen table and stared at the steam curling out of my mug until it disappeared. The signs had always been there. I just didn't want to see them. Like how he suddenly got too busy for our anniversary this year. Or how he started working late more often, but came home freshly showered. Or how he kept his phone face down every time we were together. I used to think it was work stress. Now I saw it for what it was. Guilt hiding in plain sight. Took me 3 days to confirm everything. 3 days of digging through digital traces, receipts for hotel rooms I never knew he booked, Uber rides to addresses I didn't recognize, calendar events with vague titles like Q3 review at 8:45 p.m. The woman's name was Melissa. She worked with Ethan. Blonde, polished, always a little too enthusiastic when we bumped into each other at office parties. I remembered how she hugged me at the Christmas party last year and whispered, "Ethan's so lucky to have you." I wonder if she laughed when she said it. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I didn't scream or cry or pack a suitcase. Instead, I sat with my rage like it was a second skin. I fed it, sharpened it, let it whisper to me in the dark. I knew I had to do something. Not just for revenge, but for myself. To remind myself that I still had power, even if Ethan thought he had taken it all away. And that's when I thought of Ryan. Ryan had been Ethan's best friend since college. He'd been at our wedding. Helped us move into this very house. He was handsome in a rugged, careless kind of way. Like a man who didn't try to impress because he didn't have to. There was always an energy between us. Unspoken. Dangerous. We never crossed a line, but I knew he noticed me. And I noticed him too. We hadn't talked in months. But that night, I found his contact in my phone and typed a simple message. "Hey, you free to catch up sometime soon?" He replied within minutes. "Always. You okay?" "Not really. But I will be." We met 2 days later at a wine bar downtown. I wore a black blouse that hugged just right and lipstick a shade darker than usual. When he saw me, he didn't smile. He just looked. Really looked. "Damn," he said, sliding into the booth across from me. "It's been a while." I didn't tell him right away. I let us drink a glass of Merlot first. Let the silence stretch. Let him notice that I wasn't wearing my wedding ring. "You look different," he said after a pause. "Not bad different. Just like something's changed." I took another sip of wine, my eyes not leaving his. "Ethan's cheating on me," I said flatly. "With Melissa. From work." He froze. "You're kidding." I shook my head. He let out a low breath, dragged his fingers through his hair. "That bastard." Something in the way he said it made my stomach twist. It wasn't just sympathy. It was personal. Protective. And I liked it. I leaned forward. My voice was calm. Measured. "I'm not here for comfort, Ryan." His brows furrowed. "Then what are you here for?" "I need to remember that I still matter. That I still turn heads. That someone still wants me." He stared at me. Long, intense. "You want to use me," he said. I held his gaze. "Only if you want to be used." There was a beat. Then he smiled. Lowly. "You have no idea how long I've waited for this. It didn't happen that night. I wanted it to, but not there, not yet. I wanted it to be deliberate, controlled, something I owned completely. I invited him over the next evening. Ethan was working late, of course. I didn't ask questions. I just texted back, "Have fun." I wore a silk robe in dark red and nothing underneath. The kind of color that makes a man forget why he ever looked at anyone else. Ryan showed up with a bottle of scotch and eyes that burned. He didn't touch me right away. He walked in slowly, looked around the house, familiar but now foreign to him. He paused by the wedding photo on the mantel, picked it up, studied it. "Does he know what he's about to lose?" he asked. "He already lost it," I said. And then I took the photo from his hands, set it down, and kissed him. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It was hunger unleashed. All those years of pretending, resisting, crushed into a single explosion of need. We didn't make it to the bedroom at first. The hallway wall, the living room couch, everywhere Ethan had sat, laughed, pretended to love me, became a place I reclaimed with Ryan's hands, his mouth, his breath tangled with mine. Eventually we ended up in the bedroom. My bedroom. Or bedroom. And I let him have me. Completely. Not because I loved him. But because I loved the look in his eyes when he saw me. Wanted me. Worshipped me like I hadn't been worshipped in years. After we lay there. Bare skin tangled in soft sheets. Ryan whispered something about how Ethan never deserved me. I didn't answer. I didn't need to hear that. What I needed was silence. Control. Power. And that night I had it all. The next morning I made coffee like nothing happened. Wore a turtleneck and soft jeans. Cleaned the bedsheets. Deleted the camera footage I had secretly recorded. Except for one clip I saved on a hidden drive. Ethan came home around 10, carrying donuts and guilt. I kissed his cheek. Told him he smelled like cologne I didn't recognize. He laughed it off. And I smiled back. Not because I forgave him. But because now I had my own secret. And that was just the beginning. There's something no one tells you about betrayal. It doesn't always break you. Sometimes it wakes you up. After that night with Ryan, I was no longer the woman waiting by the door for her husband to come home and explain why he didn't love her anymore. I didn't need his explanation. I was the explanation. I started playing Ethan's game, but I played it better. The next morning I got up earlier than him. Brewed coffee like usual. Cleaned the house like nothing was wrong. But in my head, a plan was already forming. This wasn't just about sex. It wasn't just about revenge. I wanted more. I wanted him scared. I wanted him uncertain. I wanted him to feel what I had felt for months. Doubt, guilt, fear. I changed how I dressed. Tighter dresses. Bolder makeup. I told him I was freelancing for a marketing company now, which meant I'd be out more. He barely blinked. Just said, "You're amazing, babe. Do whatever makes you happy." I smiled sweetly. Me. Ryan and I met more often, always in hotels or hourly rent apartments. I didn't love him, but I craved the way he looked at me, the hunger, the rough honesty of male desire. Ryan never asked about Ethan, and I never asked about feelings. We were accomplices, not lovers. No romance, just sex and vengeance. Once, lying on his chest after we finished, I asked, "Don't you feel guilty sleeping with your best friend's wife?" He chuckled softly. If he were really a good friend, he wouldn't have hurt you first. I didn't answer. Just turned away from him. I didn't want Ryan's love. I wanted his usefulness. He was the blade I was sharpening. And I wasn't done with it. Not yet. A week later, Ethan came home with flowers. Said he missed me. I looked at the bouquet, then at him. "You got the wrong flowers. I hate lilies." He blinked. "Really? I thought you loved lilies." Smiled. "That was Melissa. Not me." The sentence dropped like a stone in the kitchen. Small, but enough to stir the water. Ethan froze, then gave a weak laugh. "What are you talking about?" I didn't answer. Just walked upstairs, leaving him with cold flowers and a slowly cracking heart. That night I sent Ryan a short video clip, Just a few seconds from our first night together. No faces, just bodies. Enough to know it was me. I texted, "Keep it. Use it if needed." He replied, "You trust me with this?" I typed back, "Because I know you want him to pay too. And you know, if you cross me, you'll pay just the same." I didn't rewatch the video. I remembered every breath, every touch, every whisper in the dark. It wasn't intimacy anymore. It was a weapon, and I knew how to wield it. One afternoon I called Ethan, pretending to be stranded near his office. Asked if he could pick me up. He hesitated. "I'm in a meeting. Not a good time." Hung up. 30 minutes later I sent him a photo. Melissa walking out of a boutique hotel 5 blocks from his office. Dress wrinkled. Hair messy. Zoomed in. Crystal clear. He didn't reply. He came home 3 hours later. Silent. I didn't say a word. That night, he wrapped his arms around me while I was washing dishes. Let him. Until he breathed into my neck and whispered, "Give me another chance." I pushed his hands off. Gently but firmly. A chance for what? For us. For me to make it right. I turned to face him. Looked straight into his eyes. "You think I didn't know? All those overtime nights were really over-the-line nights, weren't they?" He swallowed hard. His wide. "She came on to me. I was weak. You were weak. I get that." He nodded. "Just like I was weak with Ryan." His face collapsed. I didn't need to say more. The name alone was enough. I saw it in his eyes. His whole world crumbling. "You slept with him?" he asked, voice shaking. I stayed quiet. He stepped back like I had slapped him. I hadn't. "You betrayed me first," I said. "I just didn't let myself be the only one left behind." Ethan sank into a chair, hands clutching his head. He looked small, powerless. I stood above him, calm, in a silk nightgown that clung to my curves. I was beautiful. I knew it. And now I was powerful. That night, Ryan texted, "I'll do anything else you need. Just say the word." I stared at the message for a long time. I didn't need anything else from Ryan. He had served his purpose. I was in control now. I replied, "Thanks. But I've got it from here." He wrote back, "If you ever want me, I'm here." I didn't answer. I was thinking ahead. I began preparing my divorce papers. Not because I was running away, but because I wanted to walk away with my head high. I wasn't the victim. I was the survivor. The winner. Ethan begged me to stay. He cried. He promised to change. But I'd already seen who he was. And I knew. A cheater will always be a cheater. Even if he bleeds, even if he swears. He was still the one who hid the knife behind his back first. Chose me. Not Ryan. Not Ethan. Me. The woman who was betrayed. Who fought back. And who's now writing her next chapter. On her own terms. It's strange how silence can be louder than shouting. After I told Ethan about Ryan, the house fell quiet. Eerily quiet. No more shallow small talk over dinner. No more lies wrapped in fake smiles. Just long, suffocating silences that said more than either of us ever could. He stopped sleeping in our bed. He claimed it was out of respect. Think it was shame. And maybe fear. Fear that I'd become something he didn't recognize anymore. A woman who saw through him. A woman who had done what he never expected. Matched his betrayal and raised it with intention. I wasn't angry anymore. Not even sad. Just empty in a clean way. Like a room that had finally been cleared out after years of holding on to things that no longer fit. I started walking more. Alone. No music, no podcast. Just me and the sound of my own thoughts echoing through the early morning air. I thought about how many women I knew who'd whispered their pain into their pillows. Women who stayed. Women who forgave too quickly. Women who settled. For less. For him. For the idea of love, even when the reality was hollow. I thought about my mother, how she once said, "Marriage is hard, honey. You stay because you said you would." And how now I disagreed. I stayed as long as I could. And then I left because I deserved to. The day I filed the divorce papers, I didn't cry. Ethan did. He sat across the kitchen table, the same one we'd had since our first apartment. I had one hand on the manila envelope, the other around a coffee mug. Black coffee. No sugar. No softness. I still love you, he said, voice low, eyes rimmed red. I believe you, I replied. But you don't respect me. And I can't live in a house where love and disrespect try to coexist. That's not love. That's survival. He reached out across the table. I didn't move. His hand hovered, then fell back. I never meant to lose you, he said. He nodded. You didn't lose me. You threw me away. The day I moved out, I didn't take much. Just the essentials. My clothes, my laptop, few books, a framed photo of me from before Ethan, 25, sun-kissed, bold. I looked like a woman who hadn't yet apologized for taking up space. I wanted her back. I found a small apartment on the edge of town. It had exposed brick, creaky floors, and sunlight that spilled through the kitchen window like honey. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I started seeing a therapist. Not because I was broken, but because I wanted to make sure I didn't carry the shards of someone else's mistakes into my future. Her name was Danielle. She had kind eyes and didn't flinch when I said, I cheated too. She just asked, how did it feel? Like I got the power back, I said. Did you? She asked. Thought about it. No, but I stopped feeling powerless. That matters. Danielle helped me peel back the layers. Helped me understand that revenge is a fire that warms you, but only for a little while. After that, it burns. Quietly. From the inside. One night, Ryan showed up at my apartment. No call. Just knocked on my door like he belonged there. I opened it, surprised. Thought you might need a friend, he said. I don't, I replied. But thank you. He looked tired. Softer somehow. Like life had humbled him too. Can I come in? He asked. Paused. Then stepped aside. We sat on the couch. No touching. No flirting. Just two people who had crossed a line and come out the other side a little more human. I'm sorry, he said after a while. For what? Yes. For not stopping it. For taking advantage of your pain. I gave a sad smile. You didn't take advantage. I knew what I was doing. He nodded. Phil. I think I wanted to hurt Ethan more than I wanted to help you. I looked him straight in the eye. Same. We sat in silence. After a few minutes he stood. Take care of yourself. You too, Ryan. He walked out of my life as simply as he had entered it. And I let him. Months passed. Changed jobs. Found a small creative agency that actually valued my ideas. My coworkers didn't know my story. They didn't see me as a wife or an ex or a woman scorned. I was just me. And for the first time in years, that was enough. I traveled. Alone. I stood on cliffs in Ireland and felt wind in my hair that hadn't been touched by someone else's expectations. I drank wine on balconies in Italy, wore red lipstick in Paris, danced barefoot in the sand in Tulum. I wrote again. I wrote about grief and rebirth. About silence and rage. About women who walked away without needing applause. About how sometimes, the most radical thing a woman can do is start over. I wasn't looking for love. But it found me anyway, in the quiet moments. Not in grand gestures, but in kind eyes at a bookstore, in long conversations over coffee, in a man who listened more than he talked. His name was Adam. He didn't ask about my past on our first date. Or second. Or third. When I finally told him, he just said, "Thank you for trusting me." And I knew then, I had found something different. Not perfect, but real. One evening Ethan emailed me. Just a simple note. Subject, her name. Message. I just wanted to say I finally get it. I finally see what I lost. Not the marriage. Her name isn't wife or mine or forgive me. Her name is me. And she deserved better. Hope you found it. I read it twice. Then deleted it. Because I didn't need his validation. I had already reclaimed myself. In the end, This wasn't a story about revenge. It was a story about remembering who I was before the lies, before the betrayal, before I became a stranger in my own life. Her name is me. And she doesn't settle anymore. She builds. She heals. She writes her own damn ending. And that ending, it's only just begun.